Good afternoon, folks. Hope you're doing well. We've still got loads of people joining at the moment, so just going to give it a couple of minutes and we will be rocking and rolling. So let me know where you're joining from. And what I'm going to do, just while we wait for a couple of other people. Oh, don't want to amend my PowerPoint. Don't want to do that. Hello, Sahid. How are you doing? I hope you're well, warm and safe. Let me know where you're joining from in the country. And if you can let me know sort of what your current situation is and how far you are along with the cyber journey, if at all, that would be great, just so that I can pitch this to the right level. Along with what you want to achieve for tonight. So if there's any sort of burning questions about the cyber industry as a whole, do let me know and I will try and spend some time to cover that with you this afternoon. Session should last anywhere between about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Shouldn't be too long. Depends how many we have and how many questions. So do bear with, because there's a few people joining, and I'm going to upload a document in a moment to the chat. You will notice that so we've got so many people coming through. Manic. It's good to see you all though. Thank you for joining. You'll notice that you won't be able to turn your video feed on, and your mic will be mute. It's just because we get about 100 or so plus people on these calls, and then when everyone's trying to talk over each other, it gets a bit of a nightmare. So the only way that you can interact with me this afternoon is through that chat window. So let me know any burning questions you might have. I believe some of you have met my good colleague Jamie over at Optima IT this afternoon. I think he was doing something with the military, I believe. So is there any military lads, girls on the call this afternoon? If you are, let me know. I was ex-military myself, and I'll do all the introductions very, very shortly. Just be good to know who's come from the old LCAS meeting that Jamie had today. I've only just been told. Oh, so he was at Aldershot, was he, Aidan? Oh, okay, cool. Cool. Well, good afternoon, Aidan. Good to see you, mate. I've got a direct message here. Okay, cool. Okay, Dean. Yeah, just got your message, mate. I'm going to assume you're serving soldier as well. So is that Sandhurst as in Military Academy Sandhurst, or you just live in Sandhurst? Oh, wow, we got loads of military on the call. That's good. It's good to see, folks. I'm going to assume your military careers are coming to the end. Currently in Lossiemouth. I've been there a few times. Wow, some loads of messages coming through. This is awesome. Tidworth, he used to be based at Bulford for about a year. Birmingham. Garts, good afternoon to you. Croydon. Okay. Well, we've still got people joining, folks, so I will I'm just going to give it a minute, because there's no point in repeating myself, so hopefully you've got some time. 2 years left in August working with, okay. 6 months left for you, Kevin, okay. Setoki, you're currently serving COP. There's loads of you, loads of military. That's cool. Colchester. Are you, I'm from Colchester. I was based there myself for the majority of my career. And there's still people joining, folks. So Violetta, are you serving as well then, or being based in Colchester? Bernard, you're from Tidworth. Josh, good afternoon to you, mate. Okay, so we still got a few joining folks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload because I do appreciate your time coming on to this session this afternoon. So this session is for you. As Matt, ask as many questions as you want. I'll take it into the direction that we see fit, and hopefully all of those will be answered. So what I'm going to do in the next minute or two, because I appreciate we're coming up to about 6 minutes past, I'm going to upload a document from my desktop. And if this academy is not for you, at least you can go away from this session having some information, a booklet to help you get started into the older cyber industry, some CV tips and all that sort of stuff. All right. So bear with me while I do that. Okay. I'm just going to upload that document now from my computer. So it's on my desktop. So if you look in the chat function, folks, you'll see that I've uploaded a cyber career cheat sheet, okay? And that's just something that will help you get started. So whether this is for you or not, at least you can go away from this session, you know, with something. The other thing that I'm going to do, just because we've still got so many people joining, is hopefully the majority of you are on LinkedIn, okay? So I'm going to share my LinkedIn feed with you. Feel free to tie in with me. That didn't work, did it? Control C. And let's paste my LinkedIn in there for you. So that's my LinkedIn in the chat, folks. You can see at the moment, I was going to take you through some of the reviews of the people that have already come through this academy with me, just so that you know that they are real people. Feel free to reach out to them, ask them questions and all that sort of stuff. So you're in pretty safe hands, really. We've been doing this a long time now. And you can see my experience here, and you'll also notice that I'm not from Optima. Okay, I'm from a company called Cyber Coaching, and what we do is we work with lots of companies around the globe to make sure that their training and delivery is at the highest standard. So we supply trainers. Not just your average trainers though, they're all vetted personally by me. So they've all got something about them, you know, globally, can't get my words out today, recognized trainers. So this is me, folks, okay? Do come and add me. Hopefully you've got LinkedIn if you are coming from the military. I know there's loads of you, and it is only going to help you speed up your career. So feel free to add me, message me outside of the seminar. So I think to that end, we've got about 65 of you on the call. We're expecting around about 100. So I appreciate people getting in from work and whatnot, and then jumping on the call. So I think you've got the cyber career cheat sheet in the chat, and you've got my LinkedIn. Okay, so should you need to reach out to me anytime, please feel free to do so. Okay, I'm just going to get this on a bigger screen. Play from the start, why not? And we want to swap those displays. There we are. So firstly, thank you for your time this afternoon. Okay, I'm sure there's a lot of better stuff that you could be doing than listening to me for the next hour. So I really appreciate your time. Why are you here and what's the objectives? So realistically, this presentation is for you. It can go in any direction that you see fit, and you take the direction of this PowerPoint and presentation in the next hour by asking me questions in the chat box, okay? Because you know, there's 65 of you. You've all got probably similar questions, but also personal questions for your own journey as well. So what I will try and do is keep a very low level baseline and give you an insight into the cyber industry as from my experience, talk through some of the experiences that I've had since leaving the military myself, and what the opportunities currently look like at the moment. I had a chat with our careers advisor this morning. They are looking to get some of the guys who are already in the academy placements already, and they've only been with us about 8 weeks. So that is awesome. So the opportunities are certainly there. And then you might be wondering, actually, if this is for you, how do you actually get started and what's the best pathway? Okay, I'm not here to sell you anything this afternoon. Okay, that is not my job. Like I said, I am not from Optima. I'm from a company called Cyber Coaching, and have been brought in as a guest speaker on behalf of Optima's IT Academy, Cybersecurity Academy. Okay, so we're going to be talking about all of those things. And the aim of the session is really to give you an insight into what opportunity exists. Is it for me? Yes or no? And then how to get started. Okay, and we've got some interactive slides where I'll be asking you questions, and hopefully you will interact with me in the chat. For those questions that I ask, there will be an opportunity to win things like coffee mugs and t-shirts that we like to give out on these sessions. So the more context that you can give to me in those in that chat window, the more of a chance you'll win a coffee cup or a t-shirt. Okay, so you might be wondering, if my PowerPoint wants to play ball, okay, who I am, what my background, and what kind of qualifies me to sit here for the next hour and talk to you about how the cyber industry actually looks. Okay, so a quick introduction on myself. Try not to bore you too much. Very ordinary background, very ordinary person, nothing special, but just had a very extraordinary career. Joined the army myself at 16 years old, after coming out of military boarding school because my mum and dad wanted to get rid of me. It's the way it goes. But I went into a job that was absolutely nothing to do with IT whatsoever. Actually failed IT. It was all about spreadsheets back in school, and it just bored the socks off me. Wasn't interested. So there was me. I went off to have a career in the military, predominantly within the Airborne Forces and Parachute Regiment, and then later transferred over to the Royal Signals to get a trade, which is where my kind of insight into, communications and cybersecurity started opening up. Unfortunately for me, I had an accident overseas in 2017, which cut my military career short. And I was kind of at a place, what do I do next? But I was lucky enough to hear the word cybersecurity getting thrown around the military back then, how it was getting bigger, how there wasn't enough talent to sit in the seats and fulfill the jobs, i.e. protect people and companies' data, and that it was only getting bigger. I don't think it's a secret to share by saying that, we are moving from an industrial revolution into a technological revolution. Everything is technology. The most important asset on the planet today is not gold, it's not currency, it's not oil, it's not even toilet paper. When we talk about COVID, it is data. Okay, so if you really do want to make some money and you want to be ahead of the times, it's going to be something to do with technology, either securing it, building defenses, testing it, or doing something with data. Okay, so when I came out of the military, I was lucky enough to go straight into my first job and triple my salary, which for me was absolutely extraordinary. I was a father of two at the time. And like I say, it was just crazy, straight into the cyber industry. I was very brand new, didn't really know what I was walking into, but the industry as a whole was still paying about 3 times more than what I was getting paid as a serving soldier. About a year and a half, maybe 2 years after coming out of the military, I took sort of sail and opened up my own consultancy, went freelancing, contracting. And then from there, that led on to me opening up Cyber Coaching UK. And what we do at Cyber Coaching is deliver very high level technical knowledge to beginners, to kids, to adults, to businesses, all things training at very high levels to make sure that we have enough bums on seats to protect the data around the globe. It did start in the UK, but in the last 2 years, we've grown. We've now had 6,500 people trained through cyber coaching in the last 2 years in 53 different countries. So you can see how much we've grown just in the last couple of years. Like I say, didn't go to university or anything like that. Now, the middle picture is there to show you that you can work in almost any industry that you see. you know, anything that you want to go into, the cyber industry offers. Why? Because technology is everywhere. Okay, so I wanted to stay within teaching the next generation of kids, cadet forces, the military. I just got back from Blandford this week, training the Royal Signals. It's been a really, really awesome opportunity for me. And then the third picture is not really there to blow my own trumpet or anything like that. It's more to show you that if you're struggling financially at the moment, in whatever job it is that you're doing at the moment, then the cyber industry typically pays far, far higher than your national average salary. What we are seeing a lot at the moment is people come through the academies, they spend 6 months to a year, maybe 18 months in a full-time job, just finding their feet, learning the basics, and they go self-employed contracting, which obviously, you know, when you're contracting at a day rate of anywhere between sort of 600, 750 pounds a day, you're going to become financially free, you know, down the line, or at least after a couple of years. So that opens up more doors for you to go and do the things that you want. Maybe you're a family man and you want to spend more time with your children. Maybe you just want to go traveling and work remotely. That's the opportunities at the moment that the cyber industry is offering. Okay, so certainly I don't know what your situation is. Happy to talk one-to-one outside this presentation if you need so. But you can see that it gives you a lot of time, okay, because you don't need to work every day 9 till 5 in the rat race anymore, because we pay far higher. But secondly, you're also getting financially rewarded for the skill sets that we really, really need in this industry at the moment. Okay, so that is me. Okay, that's been my background for the last sort of 7 or 8 years since leaving the military, and I haven't looked back, in all honesty. I don't know if any of you get bored in your current workplace. I don't know if any of you got office 9 to 5 jobs. I physically could not do that. It would bore the socks off me doing the same thing over and over again. So being in an industry that keeps you busy every single day is fantastic for someone that wants to overcome problems, thinking outside the box and just move to different sectors. Okay, if you get bored with working in banking, you can go and work in engineering, or you can go and, in this picture, for example, one of the biggest contracts that I had was to go and do basically ethical hacking at Emirates Stadium in Arsenal Football Club. Not that I'm even a football fan, so I feel like it was kind of wasted for me. But nonetheless, if sport is your bag and you want to go and work in the sporting industry, go and meet the football players. We had lunch with them and all this sort of stuff. Then you can go and do that with, within the cyber industry. About 2 years of doing what I do now, I wanted to go and work with security services and foreign nationals. So I did a lot of work with GCHQ overseas in, let's just call it the Baltic region. So Slovakia, Estonia, Latvia, Russia. Spent a lot of time going around as a civilian contractor, working with those foreign nationals, teaching them about their security risks, the severity of those vulnerabilities, impacts, and so on and so forth. Okay, and the reason I did that is because I missed the military, which I'm sure some of you, or a lot of you on the call this afternoon, will be able to relate to that. It is scary, I'm not going to lie. When you come out of the military, for those that are military background, you're coming out of a bubble, and it is quite scary. And that's why I liked being in the cyber industry personally, because you can still get paid to work with those foreign nationals if that's what you want to do. After I got back from sort of the Baltics for 9 months, I chose that actually I want to go around universities and speak to graduates and help professors sort of update their things that they were talking about in university. So I did that for about 9 months, not coming from an educated background. Okay, I don't have a degree. I did get offered one, and this is the other thing as well. If you don't have a degree and you're thinking, should I go down that path or not, if you learn your trade, okay, within a year or two, you'll probably get offered or sponsored to do a master's degree, which will only take a year through research. So I got offered to do a cybersecurity master's degree at the Royal Holloway University. It was going to take 1 year self research, master's through research, and only £4,000 sort of from my own pocket. So you can see that there are different methods to get, you know, what everybody sort of goes down the same path, you know. So yeah, just something for you to think about. Okay. Just going to admit this person. There we are. And just before I go into this slide, I've worked with most FTSE 100 companies, industries, okay, specifically banking has taken my interest. So anything that you want to kind of go and do is on the cards for you to go and do as a specialist, you know. That's really important for me to kind of get across, because it's no day is the same. But you are probably sat there and you're going, I want to get into cybersecurity, but there are all these different jobs and I don't have a clue where to start. Okay. So what this slide is really about is me trying to summarize up how the market is looking at the moment. Okay. And how there are 257 different jobs at the moment, give or take, okay, within the cybersecurity umbrella. So what I've tried to do here is kind of sum it up, okay, which route you will go down typically. So if you want to be a technical person in, well, regardless whether you want to be technical, actually, if you want to come into cybersecurity, you will often find yourself in the red team, okay, which is all things offensive security. Okay, so this is ethical hacking. This is testing physical security. So think back to the example I just showed you about doing pen testing for Arsenal. Okay, we're testing the physical security, their CCTV, their security guards, picking locks on doors, testing RFID fields, and before we've even got into the server rooms to test their IT capability. Okay, so that's red team. Okay, all things offensive security, dealing with vulnerability management and whatnot. Now on the flip side of that, you've kind of got what we call blue team, and that's cyber defense. Okay, so things about building firewalls, being a SOC analyst, a security operations center analyst. So sitting in a big room with loads of data coming into it and making informed decisions on alerts and incidents as and when they arise. Okay, do I look into them a little bit more deeper? Is that a false positive? And then make the necessary actions, or escalate that to things like the incident response teams should the company that you're looking after have a breach. Okay, so digital forensics, all that sort of stuff, that's going to be in the blue team. Okay, so they work very, very closely with each other on exercises as well. So if you're part of the red team, the blue team are going to be monitoring you. You know, how did you get in? Did you alert any defense systems, monitoring systems, logging systems, and all that stuff? If yes, how can we be quieter? If no, how can the blue team tweak their defense systems to make, if it was a malicious attack, that they would catch that? Okay, so red team and blue team work quite closely. GRC team, on the other hand, okay, is the governance, risk and compliance. So these are all things like best practices. So for the military people, I'm just going to call this the officers team. Okay, so these are things like dealing with risk management, cyber operations strategy, and basically implementing policy. Okay, so you normally find this is where your managers sit. Okay, governance, risk and compliance. That's not to say you don't get management within the blue team and the red team as well, but they're more of the techies, and the GRC teams are dealing with policy, GDPR, ISO 27001, and all these sort of things that keep us, you know, best practices. Okay, so that's that. Now, regardless of what route you decide or you're looking to come into, you might be thinking, okay, but what is it specifically that we do on a day-to-day basis being in the industry? And obviously, it's quite a wide answer, but typically what you will find is you're there to attend on these two triangles. So I want to talk through these two triangles with you. And there's going to be an opportunity for you to like I say, earn yourself a coffee mug or a t-shirt very, very shortly. Okay. So well, let's start with the left-hand triangle, and I see if I've got a is that a pen there? No, laser pointer, that's what I wanted. So let's have a look at this left-hand triangle. So if you imagine data, okay, sitting in the middle of this triangle, it doesn't matter if you're on the red team, the blue team, or the GRC team, you are there to protect the confidentiality of data. What is the confidentiality of data, you might be thinking? So if we're sending data from one point to another point, either on a local area network, you know, in your house, in your office, in your business, or whether you're transferring that from one client to another client over the internet, which is a horrible and dark place, you have to make sure that those packets and that data is kept confidential should someone be able to grab it and make a copy of it. So these are things about how do we implement and use encryption, either at rest, in transit, or even when the application itself is in use. Okay, so all things encryption to be able to keep that confidential data away from evil Eve, as we seem to call her. As well as that, there are two other main purposes, okay, that you will do no matter what team that you're in, okay, and that's to make sure that data is kept integral, okay, meaning that it hasn't been altered in any way, shape, or form. So how do you make sure that data hasn't been altered? Okay, and there are processes and technology and algorithms and all these sort of things that you'll learn on the academy that we can implement to make sure that data hasn't been altered from one point to another. Okay. Typically we're going to be talking about, you know, hashing, okay, and don't worry if that goes straight over your head, okay, we talk about all of this sort of stuff. And then third and final, okay, making sure that systems and networks and websites and all of these sort of stuff is made available to our clients, our customers, our peers when we say that it's meant to be available for, okay. So to get you thinking, imagine if Amazon went down for only 5 minutes, okay? How much revenue would Amazon lose in just that 5 minutes of being brought offline, okay? So it gets you thinking. So the red team typically do that by testing systems, trying to breach them, ethical hacking and all these sort of things, where we then write a report at the end of it for the management team and say, this is how I got in, okay? This is how I got hold of this data, and here are my recommendations to make sure that someone malicious can't repeat those steps, okay? Whether it be updating systems, patching them, changing access controls, implementing encryption, all this sort of stuff, okay? That's your job in the red team on how you will achieve this. In the blue team, it's just the reverse role, okay? How can we implement defense systems? Is our logging and monitoring up to scratch, okay? And what protocols are they, you know, logging and monitoring? If there is a breach, how can we perform incident response and digital forensics, okay? Very, very fast to make sure that our clients and our customers and our data doesn't get in the wrong hands and spread, all right? And then on the flip side, the GRC team, how can we implement best practices, raise user awareness, implement training for our staff and all this sort of stuff? So I imagine some of you, if not most of you, will have some form of IT training or security training that you have to do every single year. Okay, and that's because that's come from the governance, risk and compliance team. Okay, and that's how they achieve this model. All right. So before I start talking about this second model, and I'm going to have a drink of my water in a minute, I want you to put your cybersecurity caps on and start thinking about being a cyber consultant, okay? And the question that I have for you, and if you can give me a yes or a no, bearing in mind there is no right or wrong answers on this chat tonight. It's all about the context that you give it, okay? So if you can give me an answer for the question I'm about to ask, okay, but give me some context on why you think yes or no. And that question is, can you make systems 100% secure? Yes or no, and try and give me a bit of context on why, okay? So I'll give you about 30 seconds to a minute to get your answers in the chat. Can you make systems 100% secure? Come on, folks, use that chat. There we go. They're all coming through now. Brilliant. Okay, so Chucks, no, that's impossible. Try and give me some context on why it's impossible. Aidan, no. Chinmay, no, because the cyber world is complex. That's why we are constantly going down the rabbit hole of forever learning, troubleshooting, overcoming problems, and that's why ultimately we get paid what we get paid. No, David, I like this one. I think no, you can only minimize and keep building as threat comes. David, I like the context that you gave to me there. Okay, so I'm going to give you the option of a t-shirt and a coffee mug. Let us know in the chat and we'll get one sent out to you after the presentation. Sahid says yes, you can make systems 100% secure. Avista, no, systems can be 100% secure. No, because there are constant innovations and ideas, changes happening daily, the complexity. Good. These are really good answers. And you are certainly thinking that, you know, with your consultancy cap on. Dreamy Cakes. Okay, nice name. No, that's why you have to keep learning new ways to make it more secure. Yep. Michelle Thompson, no. Systems dynamic. This is really good, folks. Tools are changing. I like that one. John, no, you can't, because you are doing that someone else is doing the reverse to get the new ways to get in. John, I like that answer, and I'm going to give you another t-shirt or coffee cup. So let us know what you want. Sunday, no, we can't make systems 100% secure. This is why we update all the time. Good. People are always ahead of the game. Wow, these are really good. Thank you for your interaction this afternoon. Can't make systems 100% secure because they fail and get bug issues. Brilliant, brilliant. Technology is always advancing. No, because there is always a genius who can break the security systems. Caroline, I'm going to give you a coffee cup or t-shirt as well. So that's 3 I've given out so far. This is really good, folks. Really, really, really good. Because risks are there all the time, and the idea is to find a ways and to minimize it. Really, really good. Okay. We can't give you a cap, John, because we don't produce them. I've got my own cap here that I like to wear, but it's not one that we tend to give out, and I'm certainly overdue a haircut. So it's either a t-shirt or a coffee cup. Simone, no, unfortunately, it's not possible because the threats are changing every day. I like that one, okay, because you've given me context that there is a threat every single day, and you're not wrong. So I'm going to give you a coffee cup or t-shirt as well, okay? So let us know what one you want. So I'll hold it there, folks. Thank you for your interaction, okay, because without that, you know, this doesn't go too well. And here's my answer. Yes, you can make systems 100% secure, okay? And the context that I'm going to give you is by explaining this second security triangle, okay? There is a huge interdependency between the attributes of security, functionality, and usability, okay? So if we want to achieve 100% security, and we bring this all the way to the top, okay, think of it like this. I can take the computer that I'm on now, take all the network cables out, take the RAM out, the processing unit, and bury them, you know, or drop them in the sea, okay? 4 corners of the earth and all that sort of good stuff, okay? But there's a bit of an issue with that. I have achieved 100% security on that particular system, but they're not exactly functional and they're not usable, okay? So in order for security and functionality and usability, we need to achieve what we call the sweet spot. And that's having it directly in the middle, okay? Just enough security that allows just enough functionality and just enough usability, depending on what our business or organization or institute actually is. So for those that are on the call from the military, your security is probably going to be a little bit higher than what Bob's Fish and Chip Shop's going to be, okay? Just for the nature of the data flowing through your systems, okay? Now think about what security is actually there for, okay? It's just designed to slow people down, okay? So if our systems are online in any way, shape or form, okay, we cannot achieve 100% security. How much security is enough? Well, the answer to that is just enough. And I know it sounds a little bit cliche, okay? Just enough depending on what type of business you are, what type of data is flowing, what the cost is going to be on the implementation of these systems, how our end users maybe need to troubleshoot, all of these sort of things that you need to take into considerations when building the architecture of networks and, you know, attempting to breach them, okay? So that all goes over once you've achieved this, okay? And realistically, when, you know, the internet was first introduced a long time back, they weren't really concerned about the security, okay? They were going, we need this internet to be usable and functional, and we've made loads and loads of connections and networks across the world, where now we are trying to implement security on top of them. Okay, what we are trying to get across in the industry at the moment is before you even think about plugging a cable in, we need to think about security being at the heart of this business. Okay, so where 10 years ago, okay, where 10 years ago, what was I going to say? Sorry. A CEO or business manager would have looked at the IT department and the cybersecurity department as an expenditure, okay? They now look at them as the heart of the business. So you've probably heard of the they have to be at the on the board management, and they have to be at the heart of the you know, the business. Okay, so it starts to get you thinking, and if you understand these two models, you'll make a very good security consultant going forward. Okay, obviously I'm not here to teach you loads of cyber stuff, okay? It's just to get you thinking. Now think about the methods that we could gain entry, okay? Think about your digital footprint that you personally hold, whether it be Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, websites, all these sort of stuff that you may have, okay? I want to introduce you to the term called social engineering, which is a big part of what we do in the pen testing world. So I'm going to play you a video, okay? Hopefully we won't have any issues, and just let me know if you can hear the sound, folks, please.
Oh, hi, can I help?
Can I have a hot chocolate?
What's the name?
Joel.
What was the name?
Alex.
Alex. There you go, Johnny.
Cheers.
If you like our Facebook page, we give you a free hot drink and a free pastry.
We have a new light for Damien. We have a new light for Damien.
Hey, Carly, are you standing by?
Standing by. Hi there, can I help?
Yeah, just liked your Facebook page.
Okay, I'll search Facebook
I'm
now.
searching Google.
Have a phone number.
I've got his email address.
Okay, Carly, are you ready for information on Damien?
Yep, I am.
Mother's maiden name is he banks with
Hey, Carly, this is the girl coming in now with the blue scarf.
What's her name? Nicholas.
Nicholas. His date of birth, 7th May. She lives at 38A.
Just be a couple of seconds.
2 children, age 4 and 6. Previous address. She's got the postcode.
Yep, got it. Damien, age 26 and a fitness instructor.
How do you know that?
Road, he goes to UCL. Martin went to South Thames College. Assistant psychologist at Great Ormond Street.
That is I don't really understand.
Oh, better?
You know I'm a Christian as well.
Oh, yeah, we know everything about you, Martin. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Anna from Russia.
Okay, so the reason I share that video with you, okay, is typically we are trying to get out of the mindset that I've got nothing on my devices to hide. I don't care if I were to have a breach and all this sort of stuff. Okay, that is not the attitude that we're trying to bring up the next generation of children. And you'd be surprised how savvy they are with this sort of stuff at the moment. Okay. Clearly you might be thinking what was going on in that video. Okay, like our Facebook page and we'll give you a free coffee and cake or whatever it was. Okay, now it gets you thinking. Okay, there's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. Okay, which I'm sure most of you are pretty aware of, and it gets you thinking about who is the product. When you're using Facebook, who's the product? Are you using Facebook the product, or is Facebook using you as the product? Okay, it starts to get you thinking, doesn't it? Do you actually need to use the Facebook application to use Facebook? No, you don't, do you? Okay, you can use the web server to log into your Facebook over a web server. So think about how much more permissions that you're giving away just by having these unnecessary applications just sat on your phone, your desktop, whatever it may be that you use to use them. Okay, so it gets you thinking. Okay, the weakest link is always going to be the human. Okay, and hacking the human is always been far easier than hacking computer systems. You might be thinking, why? Well, we program computer systems, okay? If I start scaremongering you, or if I say, here, like our page and we'll give you something for free, and we entice you into something, okay? Computer systems don't do that. They don't feel fear. They don't get enticed into things. They do something based on a program and a piece of code, okay? So hacking the human is always going to be easier than actually hacking systems. And that's what a big part of penetration testing is dealing with voice solicitation, social engineering, and understanding how big our footprint is with our friends, our peers, our businesses, to be able to reduce that footprint, okay? And one final thing that I want to kind of get across, just because you haven't got anything to hide on your devices, or you're not up to anything dodgy, and you don't care if someone got into your emails and stuff like that, it's not the attitude to have. It's like freedom of speech is how I teach it. Okay, you might not have anything to say at this moment in time, but it doesn't mean that you don't care about freedom of speech. Okay, so yeah, Laura, really scary. Okay, some of the stuff that we can do these days, and I want to give you a live example of some of the stuff that I've done in my career, in my teams, out in the wild. Okay, about, you know, trusting nothing and believing no one, and making sure that you do that due diligence into these services. Okay, no one can actually sit on the call, you know, there's 81 of you now, and say that I read all the terms and conditions for every application and service that I use. I'm just not going to believe it. I don't, and I teach this stuff. Okay, it's just getting too big. Now, this example, is there anyone on the call that likes to overcome problems and think outside the box and, you know, be a little bit creative? Okay, so not all of this stuff has to be technical. We need people to be creative, to think outside the box, new methods of entry. Okay, so it's not all about being technical and learning to code. That is just hearsay. You do not even need to be able to code to come into this industry. Does it help? Absolutely, it does help. Okay, are you going to be advancing your career if you can pick up that skill? Of course you are. Okay, but there are loads of people in the industry that aren't even technical at the moment. They're creative, they think outside the box. So long story short about what's going on in this picture, okay, I was hired by a very senior top FTSE 100 company, so one of the 100 richest companies in the UK, to basically conduct a physical red team assessment on their cyber capability and their physical security. So we thought we'd go a little bit outside the box with this one. As you can see, we've just bought some cheap mouses, and we've basically hard-coded a GSM chip, which basically means that we can talk to this device via mobile phone, which is the fourth picture there. Okay, has its own internal SIM card. Okay, and the reason that we did this is because we did some research on a company that was basically having a few claims from its employees through RSI, repetitive strain injury. So we sat there and we kind of got around the table and we said, how can we use that pain barrier that that company is experiencing to try to hack them? Okay. And we got around and we came up with this method, and I'll show you the video on how this works in a moment. So we effectively reached out to the HR department whilst, you know, doing some fishing around on LinkedIn, and found some people that worked in the HR department in this company. We found the contact detail and we phoned them up and said, hey, we've been contacted by your insurance company for the claims that you're doing with RSI. Now, how did we know about the RSI claims? The employees were talking about it on the Glassdoor website for that company, okay? And Glassdoor is just a website where employees can tell you a little bit about what's going on in the company. Quite intrusive, actually. So they just think that we are legitimately have been contacted through their insurance policy to try to help them reduce the risk of their RSI. And what I told them is we were a leading company in reducing RSI by our very top of the range mouses that put your wrist in a certain angle to reduce RSI up to 40%. We're not trying to sell you these mouses or anything like that. We just want you to trial the mouses. And if your employees like them, all we ask is for a review, okay? And you get to keep these mouses at about 50, 60 pounds a mouse. They weren't, and this is all part of social engineering, okay? They were about £5 a mouse, all right? Cheap stuff. So we said that the HR manager turned around and said, oh, that's brilliant. Okay, yeah, send the mouses over and we'll implement them this week, okay? So effectively, we sent these mouses out and we waited a couple of days before we started doing exactly what I'm about to show you now, okay? If my PowerPoint wants to play ball. So what we have here is the demonstration of how this worked, if it wants to play ball. Hang on, sorry, folks. It does this from time to time. It locks up and it's really annoying. So it's because I've got the laser on, isn't it? So let's turn that off. And there we go. So what's going on is we've put the shell back on top of the mouse and we are going to play both the attacker and the victim. So this is what happens to the victim. Okay, so if you look at the left-hand side of the screen, that is going to be what the employee, the victim, saw. And on the right-hand side of the screen is what we would have seen as the attackers. Now, remember that GSM chip that we put into those mouses. Now, what we're doing now is we're basically sending it a text message to say, start listening and send your attack, okay? Just over mobile phone means, okay? So we put the IP address in and the port number. Don't worry if that information's going over your head. You learn all this sort of stuff in the academy. And we are now initiating the attack to that mouse, okay? So we send the text message, and if you look at the left-hand side of the screen, this is what the general user who plugged that mouse in that company would have seen. Now look at the right-hand side of the screen. There we go. And now we're in. Okay, so for your general user, okay, that's just going to look like some random glitch on the screen, okay, unless they are fairly tech savvy or whatever, and they raise that with IT, it's probably not going to be a massive concern for us, the fact that there was a little glitch on the screen. On the right-hand side, I don't expect you to understand it, but that's now giving us a link back out of that company. So not only did we think outside of the box and make a scenario up here for this attack, excuse me, but we also initiated the attack from the inside out instead of attacking from the outside in, which helps the defense system, helps us get past the defense systems, okay? So another case study that I want to share with you is maybe you're interested in working with law enforcement, private security, or generically doing open source intelligence, okay? Now, this is from one of the tools that scrapes social media. So we had a particular target, we gave it a username, and this platform was Twitter, and it scrapes Twitter and brings us back all the information in a very nice Excel spreadsheet so that we can filter through it. Okay. Now, what I've also highlighted is the latitude and longitude of each one of those tweets were ever taken. And to the left of the highlighted area is the date timestamp of when those tweets were actually tweeted. Okay. So if you use a bit of imagination, okay, we plot that on Google Maps. All right. And let me ask you some questions. Where do you use social media the most? Okay. Or where would you be tweeting? I'm going to pick on this one. Okay. Number 5, 3 minutes past 8 p.m. Okay. Where do you think that we can assume that this particular latitude and longitude, which is like GPS coordinates, okay, is going to be from? Where do you spend most of your time on social media? Stephen, I can see that your hand is raised as well. If you've got a question, do just fire it to me either directly or in the chat box that everybody can see, and I'll answer it. So where do you spend most of the time on social media, folks? There we go. They're all coming home. At home and at the sofa. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So we collated that information. Okay. Thank you very much for your input. Maybe it's a little bit behind. 26 tweets were coming from the most area here. So we can safely assume, and it is an assumption, it's not fact, that is that user's home address. Okay. Second question, where do you spend most of your time bar from your house? So the second most spent time, that's not your house. Okay. It's going to be work, isn't it, Dean? Thank you very much. Yeah, absolutely. Work, isn't it? So we've got 11 tweets now from this location that we can safely assume it's going to be the office, it's going to be work, it's going to be something like that. Or clearly, if you're not a remote worker. And this was a demonstration from back in 2017-18. So we weren't really working remote. Remote wasn't as big as it was now anyway. And then third and finally, where do you spend most of your time outside of your home and outside of the office or work locations? Okay, so as you can see, we've got 26 being the home, 11 up here probably being the office or the home, and number 10, we've got the bar, we've got gym, we've got place of leisure, traveling, boyfriend, girlfriend's house, etc., etc. Okay, so we've pretty much mapped out this whole entire person's, you know, life just by having access to their Twitter and by using open source intelligence tooling to spider and call back that information. We've got, if we used a bit of imagination, we've got probably the routes that they go to work, and obviously view there, you can see how this can be quite intrusive, okay, just by having that freely available information. All right. So what I want to do is bring it home for you. And can you still hear me, folks? Sorry, I think we're having some sound issues. Yeah, back out. Apologies. I'm on a SATCOM and it's nighttime now, so I don't know if the clouds are going over, blocking that signal or whatever. Okay, cool. I've cut off, but I am back, so hopefully you can hear me. So all of the stuff that we've discussed this afternoon, I want to bring it into a real life example on something that you could be sort of doing along the journey that you come into cybersecurity. Okay, and this was a live penetration test from a bank that we did a couple of years back. So I've got some questions for you if you were to hack a bank. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is make sure that there is a sign off from senior management. Okay, and this is where it's really important to have good soft skills, being able to talk to humans. Okay, we get really technical people that can't talk to humans, or we get non-technical people that have no technical knowledge but can talk to humans. Okay, so what we're trying to create is consultants that have good soft skills, can talk to managers, talk to them about their vulnerabilities and help them to reduce that risk. So the first step is going to be the scope and sign off. Now, if you were going to hack a bank, okay, this was the actual target location from the street view that we used, okay? So what are the sort of things that are standing out to you that you might be thinking about we could use, or we might have to take into consideration when hacking this bank here, okay? So this is from the side view. If I pop the laser back on, this is the bank in question that we were going to hack, okay? Aldgate station, okay, so certainly first and foremost there's an underground station that we are going to want to is going to be of interest, and for me, when I looked at this, there was Pret Manger as well, okay, and I thought actually if we can get into Pret Manger and have a view going from left to right opposite that bank, it might give us a nice view. Yep, power lines, okay, potentially are there power lines that we could hijack or something like that, or tap into? And this is a coffee stand in the sort of bottom left of the stand here, okay? So my thinking is if we can get ourselves in Pret Manger, order ourselves a nice coffee, have a better view at the front of this office, and also see the people coming in and out of Aldgate Station at 10 to 9 every morning, we might have a nice way of building up our sort of profile on what we are trying to do. So that's exactly what we did, okay? We are now moving into the reconnaissance stage. Reconnaissance our targets, looking on LinkedIn, other social media platform, who might be important, and trying to see if we can identify anybody coming out of Aldgate Station into the bank that we might potentially use as a target, okay? Taking pictures with our cameras and all this sort of stuff. So this was the view from Pret Manger, okay? So we've actually come from looking this way across the view to full on looking at that. Now, if you were going to hack this bank, what are the other things that might concern you that you might sort of note down and want to talk about to the team before you sort of go in to this building, okay? What sort of things are sort of alarming you? Okay, so we've got a camera, okay, yeah, so camera up here by the door. We've got a security guard down here. Absolutely. Okay, what else have we got? Websites, we could potentially look at their websites. Time when the bank is actually busy versus, you know, mundane. Absolutely. We've got a scanner in the left-hand side. We've got an RFID scanner. We're going to have to try and get past, aren't we? Clearly, we've got the police that we're going to have to try and avoid. And incoming of the staff, yeah, so there's a staff member. What's particularly interesting about this staff member on the right hand side that we've kind of already touched and briefly mentioned? Yes, Kevin, good, Sunday, yeah, absolutely, okay, he has got his ID card around his neck. So what we did is we took pictures of that ID card and we printed it on our fake cards. But we also knew that we would have to bypass one of these RFID scanners. So when he went to the coffee stand at 10 to 9 in the morning, okay, this is what we did. We copied their card by using an RFID cloner onto our fake card. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of the laser again so I can show you our entry. Okay, so here's us going to the RFID. Happy days, that let us in there. So we start wandering around the bank. We start locating the server rooms and all things security that might interest us inside the bank, which obviously I can't share with you, being a little bit high sensitive. Okay, so you can see the things that we do. Yeah, nice move. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, appreciate it. And this is why we are getting paid what we get paid. Okay, because we didn't stop there. We thought that actually, if we can potentially trick the security guard once we are inside with a fake printed badge on, okay, he might believe that we are there for legitimate reasons. So we started looking around a little bit confused, and eventually the security guard came up to us and said, "Hi, can I help you?" And we showed him our ID cards and said, "Yeah, we're from the IT team here to check the servers. I'm just not familiar with this branch, and can you show us where the server room is?" "Oh, absolutely, please come this way." He lets us into the server room. He gives us a chair. He asked us how we want our coffee. And then he leaves us in the server room of the bank all alone, which is not a good idea when you're doing the stuff that we do. Now, that was all of the things that we've spoken about into context, okay? Technical issues, thinking outside the box, being creative, social engineering, using open source intelligence tooling before we've even got on site to make our, evil plan on how we're going to breach this. And this was so easy for us to do, okay? And this is this is a bank. So think about low-level businesses and how they are suffering and all this sort of stuff, okay? Now, the reason that a job like this, that we charge them 6 figures for a week's work, okay? So you can see the reason that we got charged them as high as we do and we get paid as pen testers, well above the national average, is because we were actually able to get our hands on about £4 million worth of data. Right, so paying £120,000 for a couple of contractors to go in and test the security of the bank might seem expensive, okay, and it might seem excessive, but not when you're saving them not just £4 million worth of stolen data, but reputational damages, all that sort of stuff, okay? Think about the fine that GDPR would have issued with them, okay? 2% to 4% turnover, okay? That's not profit, that's turnover. That is enough to potentially make or break a business, okay? So this is why, you can expect anywhere between about 45,000 as a junior before your certifications coming into the industry, moving right up to anywhere between 50, 60, 70K after your first year, and then probably going contracting for anywhere between sort of 650, 750 a day is kind of the average of what pen testers averages are, okay? But there's a few things that you need before you can kind of get to that stage certifications wise. We're going to talk about them in a moment. So the next slide that I've got, okay, hopefully you're getting a picture of how we do business now, okay? Normally we have a look at the market here. So what I'm going to do, okay, is go into Google and I'm just going to type in pen tester jobs, okay, just so that you can see them live on what's going on here instead of showing you some old stuff. So if we go on Indeed, let's have a look at what we've got going on the moment, okay? So let me pick on something that I'm CGI pen tester. Okay, cool. So right, here we go. This is exactly what I wanted to show you. All of these jobs that are out here for you to basically apply for, okay, and there are hundreds of them at the moment, is going to be asking for your crest certification, okay? So the first one that I pick on is asking for your crest qualification. That is what you need to become into our industry and do really, really well, okay? National sort of average pay on contractor for being a penetration tester, having their crest qualification is 600, 650 a day, okay? That's average. Obviously, if you go higher than that, you'll get paid more because you'll be more in demand, but I'm just going to pick on a random one. Let's have a look at what these are offering. There you go, it is. There it is again, okay? Crest again. So you can see, okay, that we are focusing where we are going at the moment, all things crest, okay? So we build the fundamentals up for you going on the network plus, the security plus, and then we kind of push you down the crest CPSA route so that you can be straight a billable consultant straight off the mark, okay? This indeed doesn't seem to be showing what they're paying at the moment, but I'm sure if you go on other sites, you'll see some pretty nice salaries being read. Let's try that, okay? I don't know why they're not showing salaries. Here we go, 40 to 55, okay, as a junior penetration tester. Once again, first certification that they're asking for is the crest certification, okay, which is what you get. Notice this one here, any of the following, okay, CPSA. So I just want you to make a mental note of the CPSA because that's what the academy is going to be focused on. So you can see that there are hundreds of jobs waiting for you to put your CV in and go for an interview and become a billable consultant. And that is what we try to do. Get you in the academy, get you trained up, go and have a chat with our careers advisor, one thing on that, The reason that we do so well is our careers advisors work with you throughout the 6 months of the academy. Okay, so they know the journey that you specifically have gone through, and they are in a position to then talk to their clients and people who are looking for employ people. So I can't get my words out today. So they know the journey that Optima put you on, okay, which puts you in a higher demand than someone just directly applying for this role, because they know that you're fresh out the mark, you're keen, you're passionate, you've got a good network being tied in with me, your other trainers, Optima, 24/7 support and all this sort of stuff. So they're much prefer taking people on who go through the academy than just directly applying for it at the moment, is what we are seeing. Okay, so that's really nice thing that we've managed to jack up over the last couple of years. If anyone's in Manchester, we are crying out for people at the moment, okay, to get on the academy and then go straight in. We're looking for about 20 people to come straight in to a role in Manchester, which one of our careers advisors is trying to fill at the moment from our academy. So hopefully you can see that there's no point in clicking the old links. They are out there. Now let's talk about the academy, okay? Ran, who did you do your CREST qualification with after coming out of the military? I self-studied because there wasn't anything like this when I came out of the military. I wish there was, and it would have sped my sort of career up, you know, tenfold. But at the time, there was no one doing this. It's too new. So I kind of got self-studied and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so let's talk about the academy. Caroline, no problems, thanks for joining. Do reach out on LinkedIn if you want to know about the academy in more detail. We are kind of wrapping up now. So first and foremost, okay, what I would say is this isn't going to be an easy journey. Don't come on this academy think it's going to be, you know, an easy ride and then you're going to get 60, 70, 80k at the end of the journey. Yes, the financials are more than achievable. Clearly it's all down to you on how you do. We give you the tools, the methods, the people to stand the best chances, for sure. But you are going to get out what you put in, okay? And that's life, okay? And I'm sure, you know, the military people on the call will appreciate me saying that, okay? The harder that you work in the academies, the further that you're going to go afield. It's as simple as that. There are people out there, training providers, that will sell you a 4, 5, 6, maybe even £7,000 academy. It will be all pre-recorded material. They won't offer any help and support. It will bore the socks off you. That is not what this academy is about, okay? There are currently 74 people still on the call, and they're all in the same boat as you. They all want to get into this industry. They're all passionate about technology. They all want more time for themselves and their family, which I think everybody on the planet does. And they all want to get paid more for what they do and have a skill set that is in demand. And that is what we're going to give you over the next 6 months. So just quickly, okay, just because I got off a call today with one of the academies that we're launching. And as you can see, this was yesterday, but we did have another session today. Okay, that they literally say, Tom, I need some help with this, or I want some more information. Are you free? We spin up a session and everybody seems to jump on the sessions. They're making friends at the moment, and we're having some awesome feedback from the academies that we're already doing. Okay, now over the 6 months of enrolling in this academy with Optima, what they will give to you is 6 months. Every Wednesday, they will host a study buddy session, meaning that anything that you go over at the weekend sessions, which will be explained to you in the next slide or two with myself or my senior instructors, you will be able and have a chance to go over, okay, in the study buddy sessions, which is really fantastic. Tell me another academy that for every week for 6 months, you get to go over stuff that you've learned, okay, in those sessions that there isn't anywhere, okay? And then I think the fourth and final point I want to say about this academy, why I support what Optima are doing, is they have come directly to us where we supply trainers that are globally recognized. So we work at Black Hat in Vegas. We do keynote speaks all over the globe. All of our trainers are the best at what they do, okay? And they've all got a backing to prove that. Go on my LinkedIn, check me out, check the reviews, check my previous experience out. We're not just someone who's come in the industry, pass the course and then teach it, okay? That's not what we do. We have all been in the field in the industry, okay? If you haven't got my LinkedIn, I will send that again, mate, okay? Just so that you know that I've previously been in the field. You will see me all throughout the academy, okay? And my job is to help you have an enjoyable experience. Now, what happens if you fail a certification? Do you pay extra to resit? No. Okay, we are so confident in getting you to that level in the support that we provide that Optima have offered to offer you free resits in every single one of these exams. Don't think about failing, Aidan, okay? You don't need to be technical right now. The only thing that I ask is if you're thinking about coming onto this academy is just make sure that you're passionate. I can't give you passion, but what I can do is over the last, 5 years of teaching these sort of stuff, I can give you the technicals and the fundamentals. I can train you up, but I can't give you the passion, okay? Thanks, Sunday, no problem. And just to reinforce the global recognized trainers, 2019, I was awarded the best global ethical hacker trainer for EC Council, where they flew me out to Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. So every one of our instructors has something about them, effectively. Okay. I don't have Telegram, George, unfortunately. You can find me on LinkedIn, or if you've got questions, fire them over to Optima and they'll get them to me, I'm sure. Dean, CompTIA security, CompTIA network give you Crest. I'm a little bit misled, Dean, on what your question is, but what certifications will you get? If there is a waiting time for the next academy, okay, the Optima will keep you busy and give you another certification whilst you wait for to come on with us. Okay, you'll go through the Network Plus. This is effectively learning the fundamentals of how networks work and communicate, because a lot of the issue that we are experiencing at the moment is coming to our pen testing academy and people go, yeah, I want to be an ethical hacker. You're trying to run before you can walk. So they get 2 years down the line and they haven't learned the network fundamentals and got to learn the basics again. So we teach you the basics. It can be mundane, it can be hard, okay? Lots of people go, oh, I've stepped outside my comfort zone. That's what it's all about, okay? We then put you here through the Security Plus, which will be your first certification that you'll sit, and then we'll get you ready to be a billable consultant by putting you through the CSTAP, which is a preparation course for the Crest CPSA, okay? What of Cisco? What about it, Kofi? We want to be vendor neutral, so we don't just focus on Cisco-based products, we focus on all products, which is why we picked the CompTIA Security Plus, okay? We're not just focused on Cisco. If you want to do CCNA, okay, this is not the academy for you. Okay, we focus on all things security, all things networking, so that you can go in every different industry, not just Cisco. Okay, so hopefully that has cleared up what your journey is going to look like. Okay, before I hand you over and start talking, hand you over to Optima, where they will tell you the price. We have got limited spaces. We have got limited academies. Me and my trainers, okay, there is only one of us. So we can't put loads of academies on because we are busy in other areas of life. So this is why I'm really happy to be here this afternoon, okay? Or the whole delivery is remote delivered, okay, which we'll come on to in a moment, okay? Yes, and I'll come over to questions in a minute. One thing I want to highlight, the best thing that I did was invest in myself when I left the military, okay? That is the best investment that you'll ever make, is in yourself, okay? You are the most important project that there is, okay? Not your friends, not your family, not your kids, not your wife, it is you. Because if you are earning, if you are in the best place possible, then everybody around you is going to see that benefit, okay? Take it from someone who has been through this experience time and time again, okay? The reason that I shared this slide with James Bond in the background, not just because I've worked with security services, but there is a scene in Skyfall where Q turns to James Bond and he says, I can do more damage sitting in my pajamas, sipping on my first cup of Earl Grey than you can do in a year in the field. Now that's coming, I share that coming from being an ex-paratrooper and infanteer, okay? The amount of data flowing through at the moment is just, then we haven't got enough bums on seats, okay? So by 2025, there are going to be 3.5 million unfulfilled jobs around the globe, okay, in this industry. So let's have a look at where we are. 73 people on the call at the moment. What I am saying to you, having done this for the last 5 years and got people in the industry and helped other businesses like Optima to get through the academy, okay, if you're still on this call, you have what it takes to get through this academy because you've stayed for 66 minutes. You're going to build a community with all of these other people that make friends, tie in with other places, have access to us, okay? All I need you to do is bring the passion. You don't need to be able to have IT fundamentals. You don't need to be able to code. You just need the ability to step out your comfort zone, okay? Apply yourself for 6 months to have a much better life at the end of it. But I do promise you, okay? So to that end, okay, I'm going to slowly hand you over to, not CompTIA, Optima, where they're going to tell you about the prices. They're going to tell you about the next academy and how many spaces that we have. Before I do that, okay, are there any questions specifically for me, okay, about the industry? Because this is not my area of expertise. I'm here to get you into the industry and try to you know, help you the best that I can by being as authentic as I can. You've got my LinkedIn profile, okay? Please do your due diligence and check me out. Go and have a chat with past students, okay? And if there's anything else that I can help you with, whether this academy is for you or not, yes, I'm supporting what Optima do, but whether I can help you with whether you come on this academy or not, I'm here for you, okay? So do let me know if there's any questions directly for me, and I will hand you over to Optima very, very shortly. Alan, 100% interested. Good. I'm looking forward to seeing you then, buddy. Les, just checking, by logging in tonight, do you have all of our info? I don't. I'm a guest speaker here tonight for Optima. I have nobody's contact details. So if you want to talk to me, it's going to be my LinkedIn, okay? What else do we have? Okay, Blessing, you've done very well, Tom. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate that. You need my link again. Okay, not a problem. So this is me. This is who you're looking for, folks. Okay, if you're on the fence or you ever need a hand in the future. So that's coming for the final time into the chat box to everybody. There we go. What is data forensics? Well, data forensics is the collection and examination of data in order to put a particular person on a crime, to have a look at how a system was breached, and all of that sort of stuff. So it's doing investigations around data, maybe going to the court of law and being a subject matter expert witness or something like that. All these sort of things you will be able to go on to after the academy. Okay, so here I am, folks. I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to take any more of your time. CIO of Cyber Coaching UK, we work very closely with Optima and other people to make sure that their standard is as high and I'm really, really happy to promote that what they are doing. They've been doing it now for the last couple of years. And the amount of people going through their academy has just been mind-blowing. Okay, very high level consultants. So I do hope to see you in the academy along with my trainers. Earth Academy is the next one, and hopefully I've answered all of your questions. Cheers, guys. Thank you. So do we have anyone from Optima on the call this afternoon that are going to talk to this lot? Oh,
yeah,
hi,
hello, Tom. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All good, all good. What a fantastic presentation. Really appreciate your time. Obviously, it's valuable, Tom, so we're very lucky to have you. Can everyone hear me in the chat okay as well? I had some mic problems earlier.
Yeah, that's very kind of you, mate. Yeah, we can all hear you, Nathan. It's good to hear you, mate. I appreciate you inviting me for this this chat to speak to your clients. So thanks very much for that, mate. Appreciate it.
You're always welcome. Thank you, Tom. Really enjoyed that. So yeah, I think I speak for everyone. I say what a fantastic presentation, and I hope everyone's enjoyed that. What's also brilliant to see is just how many people have sort of expressed interest and obviously stayed here for so long to look and find out more about the industry. I think cybersecurity, obviously, we're crying out for people to get into the industry at the moment. So if it's something you want to do, you know, there's so much opportunity out there, and having Tom direct you and sort of look after you through that process is a fantastic opportunity. So is any of you guys looking to become a cyber professional after going through this and doing some research? Is anyone wanting to make that change? Yeah, Dean, fantastic. Les, brilliant. Yeah, loads of yeses. Fantastic. Yeah, brilliant. So maybe from David, maybe a bit more research, but yes, Blessing, Mac, yeah, fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through sort of the structure of how the training works, and then I'm just going to answer any questions that you've got. So just to introduce myself, my name's Nathan. I've been a training consultant in the industry for about 7 years now. This is by far the most exciting academy I've ever worked with. I think just because of the industry and because obviously Tom's looking after you and taking you through that process, and he's got that vast experience. What we do here is sort of like help guide people through the right steps and the right qualifications and pair you with people like Tom so we can get you trained up properly. And what we would do is train you up through a online approach where you'll also have Zoom classes that you can attend as well. So the idea behind that is that anyone can do this. You know, if you've got a full-time job, I've dealt with a lot of people that have done Uber driving before or office jobs that they just can't stand. Obviously, there's a lot of military guys in here at the moment looking to sort of find a new skill after they leave the forces. So you can fit this in with what you're doing and train up so that you can make that transition alongside your job. So there's no sort of like limbo period. So how that works, you'll see some dates on the screen. These are weekend sessions where you'll go through the exam sort of syllabus. And that's really interactive because you're in a Zoom live class. And I think that's what sets us apart from training courses. So that's the list of what you'd attend. You'd attend one weekend a month. The rest of the training is flexible, and obviously you've got those Wednesday homework sessions as well, just to touch base on a subject and just build up that community spirit as well. I think with things like even quitting smoking, you're far more successful at doing that. The NHS recommends you getting buddies to do it with you, and it's the same with us. If we've got that community of beginners all working together, it just gets you going and gets you a bit more excited to you know, do your training and learn about it. I will get onto some questions, Les. I will answer those in a second. I just want to run you through, obviously, the price as well. So we've got a fantastic offer at the moment where we've reduced the cost from 7,500 down to 4,750. That's cracking value. If you compare that to university, people are paying £9,000 a year. I was a law student. I dropped out of university, so I'm a bit resentful. I'm not saying if you've gone to university, it's a bad thing, but definitely because of the vocational aspect of the training, the fact that those opportunities are out there, the earning potential, the ability to work from home, you know, you've all got your own motivations for doing this and making the change. But that's really good, especially seen as you've got the unlimited resits, you've got the unlimited time to go through the training. So if you're looking to make the change, you can also put that into a monthly payment plan. So if you're looking at 36 months, you can literally do this for £150 a month, which is, let's be honest, pretty affordable for something like education. You know, Tom mentioned it before. It's an investment in yourself, right? So if you're learning this kind of stuff, it's only going to pay off when you get into the industry and start actually, you know, doing your contracts or working in the security operations centers. So yeah, that's basically the slides going across. Les, we do an interest-free option over 12 months. And then there's a 36-month one with low interest. What I'd recommend doing is everyone's in different situations. Like I said, I've had Uber drivers train up. I've had school teachers train up. Some people are, you know, already rich. Some people are using this as a means to earn more money because they're not necessarily earning enough to you know, fulfill their appetite, so to speak, in their current job. So it's best to speak to your course advisor. What they'll do is actually speak to you and sort of go over that with you personally, just so they can work out a plan that works best for you. All right. In fact, if I can get one of my colleagues to put in a Calendly link into the chat. I don't know if anyone's sort of helping me out tonight. Yeah, Jamie, thank you for that. If you've got questions like that where you want to enroll, so obviously we've only got limited spaces. I'd love to get 1,000 people onto the training if I could, but because Tom is only one person, he obviously wants to make sure he's looking after people properly, and obviously we want you to be successful as well. So to do that, we can only train up a certain amount of people per cohort. So if you are wanting to make the change, type your name into the Calendly. We'll book a call with you and we can go over stuff like that, Les, about payment plans, answer any final questions you got. But if you want to enroll, I would highly suggest sort of clicking that link to make sure that we get hold of you before the spaces run out. All right, so that's me sort of going through the slides there, a little bit about the structure, a little bit about the cost, obviously, and the industry. Has anybody got any questions for me at all? Has anyone got any questions that I could maybe help with? Any questions at all about the can you use ELCs? Yeah, Aidan, so you're probably from the forces. So we've got the partnership with LCAS. Again, because there's different tiers for LCAS, it's good to leave a Calendly link and just get yourself booked in for a call, because a course advisor will be able to talk to you about your because I know you've got different entitlements depending on how long you've served. So they'll be able to work that plan out with you and maybe your resettlement officer, and just go through the process as well and make sure that you're sort of understanding and applying properly. Yeah, good question, Aidan. Thank you for that one. Does this work for a beginner? George, absolutely. Yeah, it does work for a beginner. This is what these academies are designed for. So training courses as a beginner can be quite difficult because you're not supported. As a beginner, every time you're stuck during the training, you can contact one of the mentors and they can essentially just log into your computer with you and talk you through things, whether that's just a phone conversation, a Zoom chat, or accessing your learning portal with you. That means you can go from that beginner level and make that journey fully supported without having to turn up to a classroom. The industry is in a situation at the moment where there's 2.3 million jobs not being fulfilled. So as much as people talk about experience and credit, you know that need for experience, we can't be that fussy in the cybersecurity world. We need people training from a beginner level. It's kind of like having a jigsaw, right? If you've got 100 pieces in a jigsaw, if you see the industry as that jigsaw, if you've only got 40 pieces, you can't make that jigsaw puzzle by rearranging the pieces. We need new pieces. So if you're new to it, George, absolutely, this is the kind of academy that would be best suited for you. Joe, what is the deposit required? If you're going on a 36-month or a 12-month plan, it's just 5%. Speak to your course advisor because they can help you with that as well. Do you do individual courses? CSTAP. Dean, we can do individual courses if you're more advanced and you're looking at specific certifications for your own development and you're already down the rabbit hole, so to speak. Talk to the course advisor. They'll be able to consult you based off your background. But what I'd say is if you're going from beginner level or you come from a completely different industry, there's massive value in the academy because obviously it's going to look after you, but also give you the networking opportunities as well. Good question though, Dean. How many times a year do you have an intake? 1 or 2? Les, it depends really. I mean, it depends on Tom's schedule because like I said, it's all about really what we can do. If we can support people properly, like I said, we'd take 1,000 people on, but because we're limited, usually it's 1 or 2 a year. So we'd be able to confirm that in summer. But what I'd say is if you're in a position to make the change and there's some things holding you back, maybe just timing, maybe you've got other things going on, book a Calendly because it is very flexible and just getting into the training and getting started. Like I said, there's no time limit to the training or anything like that. So it makes sense to at least have the chat and see what we can do. God, there's a lot of questions. It's been nice and interactive today. I like this. I'm sort of reading through the chat. I think it's been one of the most interactive ones we've run. So thank you for this. Where do we get a course advisor? Joe, the best thing to do is either book a Calendly or email on booking.com. But Jamie keeps putting in the chat there. You see my colleague Jamie? He's putting in calendly.com/book to enroll/cyber. That is where you need to go if you want to chat with a course advisor and you're looking to enroll. All right. You can email booking.com if you just, bookings at Optima IT. Jamie, if you want to put that one in the chat, if you've got it. That's for questions. Just if you just want to sort of pop a question in there about the industry, we're obviously happy to have a chat with people. If you're more serious about enrolling and actually making the change and sort of asking questions about how you're going to make it work for you, or just going through a application, click the calendly.com, and I can't say that word, Calendly. It's like a blooming tongue twister. But yeah, you know what I mean, because the link's there. So if you click the link, pop your name down, we'll give you a call and you can speak to a course advisor. Do you have a class for beginners that is not online in Manchester? We stick with online training at the moment in Malateo, just because we can't get Tom to travel around the country. So with the academy, it's all online. One of the things that people always say to me about online and classroom is the reason why they want a classroom is they want to feel supported, right? If they get stuck, they want to be able to solve the issue straight away. I know when I've done online training before, if I do get stuck, I'll look at things like Netflix or a video game and I'll start playing that. With this, you just give us a call. We'll answer your questions there and keep you moving through the training. And obviously, you got your Zoom classes as well, so that's very interactive, and you can sort of ask your questions as you go along. What do we need to bring in for beginners in terms of hardware? Just a laptop will do. It doesn't need to be high spec, as long as it can run a YouTube video. If you're on Zoom on a device that's a laptop or a computer, that should run fine. If you've got any questions about that, run it through us first. If you have got something sort of 15 years old, let us know. Obviously, if you're going to be doing this in the industry as well, it's probably good to invest in a laptop eventually, because you're going to be working on it all the time, right? What does a career in security engineering involve? That's probably a question best asked for Tom. But if you're thinking about just security engineering, I'm guessing that's more physical hardware. Chin may speak to one of the advisors. They've got more brain cells than me. Yeah, Jamie's absolutely right. My colleague is just saying Zoom classrooms. It's how the IT industry is now. I think that's kind of how the world is now. If you think about after COVID, everyone's sort of used to using Zoom. And when you get out into the industry, it's a way of talking to your clients as well. A lot of the time, you don't want to be traveling to offices. I know a lot of ethical hackers, especially, that sort of take holidays for 6 months. I know one, a friend of mine called Leighton, who used to go to South Africa for about 4 months of the year. He's not going to want to turn up to the business and ask his boss about, what he wants to do. Zoom's a way that we interact every day in the industry. So it's definitely something that you should be getting used to in your training as well. All right. Do we have exams? Philman, yes. So 2 things that people are going to be looking for when you get to the interview stage. And it's really good to start thinking about that now. Like, what are they going to be asking us? What are they going to want? So I always say it's credibility, which you get from the exams, and also experience, which will run you through live labs, so that you're actually practicing your job and you're practicing the techniques. Some of them you've gone through with Tom today, but the idea is you take the CompTIA Network Plus, the CompTIA Security Plus, and the CREST exam, and that's enough there to sort of sell you to an employer and prove the competence side of it. You've also got unlimited resits on the exams, which I think Tom touched on earlier. I think that's really good, especially because you guys as well are new to it. Worrying about maybe not meeting deadlines or not passing exams, it's not something you want really. You want to be excited about it. You want to be sort of like learning about the industry and doing that in a comfortable environment. So yeah, those unlimited resits and that kind of stuff really helps. Adebayo, thank you for your time, mate. I hope you've enjoyed it. Joe, 5%, I pay me 225, then pay the rest in equal installments for 35 months. Yeah, absolutely, Joe. That's how it would work out over a 36-month period. If you want to speak to a course advisor and sort of fine-tune that to yourself, you are more than welcome to do that. If you're wanting to go ahead with that plan, just jump onto the Calendly. Is it autism-friendly training? Do you know what, Les? My brother's quite autistic. He's been diagnosed. He's going to begin the training next year. I think autism is just a different way of thinking about the world. I don't know about how you see it, but it's just it's good. I think cybersecurity just suits a diverse range of people, because hackers are very creative in different ways. If you think about the industry, it's kind of like a know thy enemy approach to the war on cyber, because it is definitely like a war. It's people protecting the data, it's people attacking the data. So because those people that are on the criminal side are all from different backgrounds and use different techniques, having a wide range of different people in the industry is a really good way of reflecting that. really good question, Les. But yeah, absolutely. And we will support you, obviously, through your exams and make sure you're looked after. I know a lot of dyslexic guys as well. I know it's different, but a lot of dyslexic guys are my bosses, and they're really good at IT, but they get extra help in exams and things like that. So you can ask our course advisors and they'll be able to look into that for you. Could we have the slides from Tom's previous session? Chinmay, we don't record these. We don't record the sessions. They're live events. That being said, he has dropped you some literature over. If you want to get in touch with us, probably best to drop us a booking email or whatever it is, bookings at Optima IT email address. Jamie's going to put it in the chat for me, and he'll be able to send you over any literature that you need. What if we cannot pick up? Can we quit? Philman, we don't really want to get you started if you've got that mentality. If you're looking like you're thinking of quitting, we need you to get excited about it. We need to get you looking at passing. You've got every single bit of help, right? So unlimited resits on the exams, unlimited support. The idea is you can't really go wrong once you're on the training. Yeah, if you're thinking about quitting already, it probably isn't for you. Yeah, that's what I'd say as well. When is first payment? Emiliteo, speak to your course advisor. They'll work out a plan for you. It will change and vary depending on what we can do for you. So yeah, it's best to speak to a course advisor. If you're looking to go ahead, click that Calendly link and they should be able to do that. All right. Guys, I'm just wary of the time. I've gone on a little bit. What I will say, just once again, Tom is an absolute superstar. So I'm so grateful that we've got him, but I'm also really grateful that you've taken time out of your day as well, just to sort of look at this and see if it's for you. I hope that a few of you at least, I saw a lot of yeses in the chat when I've asked, who wants to do this, who wants to be a cyber professional. We are desperate for people in the industry, and it is just really good to see that you sort of 70, 80 people in the chat going through the presentation. So I just want to thank you all for your time this evening. If there are any more questions, what I would say is get yourself on that Calendly link if you want to enroll, or if you've got any questions, just contact your course advisor, because I'm just wary of people's time. Yeah, like my colleagues just put, best investment you can make is in yourself. Absolutely right. Look, adding value to yourself, you're always going to get rewarded. That's what employers are looking for. You don't earn 60 grand a year. You don't earn 100 grand a year because you're doing a job. You earn 100 grand, 60 grand a year because you're adding value to that company. You're making a difference. So some of these places get fined massive amounts of money. You've probably seen it in the news. British Airways will fine £200 million, Equifax £500 million. That's the kind of stuff you're preventing. You're saving jobs, you're saving companies when they're on a smaller scale, and you're making a difference. And if you're sick of your job, if you love technology, if you want to change and get that work-life balance, and you're willing to put the work in and go through the 6 months training, we are very, very happy to have the conversation about getting you enrolled. But thanks again for your time. And yeah, hopefully hear from you guys soon.